Hello and welcome to Competitive Crunch. My name is Spade and today I'm here to talk about some tier changes by Smogon, as they have started using the 1760 rank stats for their tiering system. And basically what that means is when you play on Pokemon Showdown, in order to affect the user's stats, you need to reach the rank of 1760 in order to do so. And as you may have noticed, there's a lot of fluctuation going on in the metagame, so this definitely makes sense to, cut off that fluctuation that is going on, and actually just pushing the weight towards the top instead of being down where everybody's just using random crap for the sake of using it. Even though it's been like half a year, but it's still so much fluctuation. We still don't have the entire metagame out. There's only OU and UU tier. I'm sure RU will follow soon, but at the moment we do not have it. Now, this isn't really any news because this was posted like March 3rd, so like over a couple of weeks ago. But this was only back then a suggestion, but it went through, I don't know how recently. But this is still an interesting topic, so that's why I thought I would talk about it today. And the question is this 1760 rank that you need to reach a bit too harsh? And I believe it was Antar down here, yeah. He's talking about that the 1760 might be too severe because now we're looking at an incredibly small handful of users who determine the tiers. And that's what I really liked about Smogon tiering system, that it's really a democracy of people who play the metagame who decide how the metagame looks like. But when you think about it, these people who are on the top, they are the ones who are really good players. They know what they are doing. They are the best players. So is it really a problem that, it's these people who are, making basically the decisions? It's not like they make the decisions, but they indirectly do so. And, still people like you and me, we can play on Showdown. If we reach that rank, we're able to affect how the metagame looks like. But still, it's a significantly smaller amount of people. And what Antar here is suggesting is that, they could have gone with the 1630 stats first. And I think that would have been, personally a good way to do it. First start with a smaller number and then see if there's still fluctuation, then buff it up. And apparently it's like 17%, which would have been like the 1630 stats. So I don't know how much the 1760 would be. Would it be like about 7%? So if we look at the usage stats right here, on February there were 2.5 million battles. So 10% out of that would be 250,000 as opposed to 2.5 million. So out of these people, out of these battles, out of these 2.5 million battles, only 250,000 battles would count for the usage stats. And Antar has indeed started posting the 1760 stats now, so that is the thing. But is this cut a bit too severe? Maybe, maybe not. Let's look at the actual results. What have we got? And see, are there any problems with that? So basically, the BL UU mons that are now OU, I believe all of these decisions have already gone through. So changes are here to OU tier. Landorus, Deoxys Speed, Latias, Keldeo, Kieran Black, Chansey, Deoxys Defense, Manaphy, Terrakion, and Zapdos. So these Pokemon are now officially OU instead of being UU or BL. And I believe all these Pokemon were in the BL. So these don't really matter. So the only slightly controversial Pokemon here would be Zapdos. And, back in Generation 5, Zapdos was really a solid underused Pokemon, and it was still looking out to be one in this current metagame, but now it is in the overused tier. But it does make sense because Zapdos, at least it gained a new tool in form of a defog, so that's definitely a plus. And I guess I don't know what else it does really in the OU tier. I haven't really used Zapdos that much. Haven't really played Pokemon too much, to be honest, but recently. But I guess it at least does have resistance to like Talonflame's Brave Bird, which is spammed everywhere. So I guess that's a little niche that it can do. But then again, something like Flare Blitz from Talonflame destroys it anyways. But it does have that good natural bulk, so it could actually take some hits. And it does have reliable recovery in the form of Roost. And, it's always been a good Pokemon, but it's just kind of mediocre. So I don't know if it's only because of defog why people are using it more, or are there some other specific mons that Zapdos is being used to counter. Like, I guess that Talonflame and then, even Mega Pinsir that are really common. It does have that flying resistance, which is, kind of nice, but, it's only those two Pokemon. So I don't know what kind of other niche, Zapdos is being used for in the OU metagame. It's a solid mon, but kind of just been mediocre recently. But, yeah, that would be a change. So I don't think Zapdos was any broken in the UU tier, so that would be the only controversy. I guess, certainly people will miss it, but then again, out of all these Pokemon, the only slightly controversial one would be Zapdos. So I don't think Zapdos moving up to the OU, when it actually still has a place there, I don't think that's really a big issue. And then some other changes. So the Pokemon that would be dropping down to UU from the OU tier would be Donphan, Klefki, Smeargle, Starmie, Trevenant, Galvantula, Tentacruel, Sableye, Cloyster, Fortress, and Salamence. And I said these two names weirdly because they're the two slightly controversial ones. But I believe Salamence has already been banned to BL. And that's why you shouldn't freak out, because, these are initial changes. If there are problems, the underuse console will deal with them, and that's what they did with Salamence. Now, I guess you could still say that Cloyster might be broken, but I don't know. Cloyster, it's always this one-trick pony, and that's why I guess the top people aren't really using Cloyster. It does have the niche, but it's like I said, one-trick pony, Shell Smash, and it's really obvious what it's doing. I guess you could use it as a rapid spinner, but then again, since there's so many defog users and it was never the best rapid spinner, it loses that niche. And I guess it could set up spikes, but since there's defog, who even cares about spikes too much? So in the end, it's one trick pony. It's about Shell Smash, and everybody knows what Cloyster does, so it's not that big of a threat really. So there is that. But if Cloyster will be too powerful for the underused metagame, it will get banned. So there aren't really any problems. Salamence, like I said, it already received the ban hammer. It's now in the BL. So I don't really see any problems. Let's look at the other ones. Donphan, just overall really mediocre Pokemon. It does have that niche in the OU metagame. Good physical bulk, has that nice sturdy ability, so in most cases it is at least guaranteed to set up Stealth Rocks. It does have good natural physical bulk. Stealth Rocks, Rapid Spin, powerful Stab Earthquake, does have that nice priority Ice Shard, but offensively, Donphan is quite mediocre, and even to 4 times super effective targets, Ice Shard doesn't really do too much. Just overall a mediocre Pokemon. So, and at the rate Donphan was going, it was already probably going to drop to UU anyways. I think last time I was checking, it had 4.4 usage, and it was just kind of going down and down. So, not really a surprise. And Klefki, that's a controversial Pokemon because of the swag play shenanigans, but like, not really surprised. I don't think Klefki would be any broken for the underused metagame. And something I should have said a moment ago is that Pokemon that are in the underused tier can still be used in the overused tier. So I don't think there's any problem with these Pokemon being in the UU tier. If you think they should be OU, then you can still go and use them. And in fact, go and use them so much that you make a good team out of these Pokemon and then, spam them and reach the 1760 rank and get them back to OU if you really think. Start some sort of hijack, go and hijack, Smogon and their tiering system and their forums and tell people and that these Pokemon are so good that you should start using them more and go and fill the ladder and ladder up with these Pokemon and get them back to OU if you have a problem. But that shouldn't be a problem as they can be used in the overused tier anyways. But I think we can all understand that a lot of these Pokemon are just really mediocre. Klefki, like, what does it do besides, swag play? That's being suspected, by the way, Swagger at this time. Anyways, we'll get to that later, maybe. And Smeargle, it's always been this gimmick, which is just really mediocre. It's really surprising that it has all the moves in the game and it cannot pull off a broken combination that would make it OU. It's being used because of Sticky Web. Same thing with Galvantula. At this time they're used with the Sticky Web, but, still in the end, quite mediocre Pokemon. Starmie, it was good in the past, but now there's Defog for the rapid spinning, and in the end, Starmie has only base 100 attack, special attack, that is. So it's really just mediocre by today's standards. And like I said, there's defogging, so not really surprised, seeing Starmie dropping down. That's what a lot of people were predicting at the start of the game. Like, who's gonna need Starmie now that there's defog users and its offenses aren't really that great? So, yeah. And then there's Trevenant, Trevenant is really a gimmicky Pokemon. So, like, that thing, wouldn't imagine it being even broken in the UU tier. And if it is, it will get moved up to BL. But then there's Tentacruel. Kind of took a hit with the Permarain being gone, doesn't have the Rain Dish, and now it still needs to deal with all the power creeps in the overused metagame. And, again, it's another Rabbit Spinner, and there's a bunch of other options now, especially with Defog around. Sableye, a really mediocre Pokemon, does have that great ability. Prankster with Will-O-Wisp, but it's still mediocre stats. And it was UU in the last era of Gen 5. Of course, you cannot fully compare them with each other, but, Sableye would do just fine in the UU tier. Okay? Same thing with, like, Forretress. Like, it's just, the main thing with Forretress is that it can spread all sorts of hazards and it can spin, but, spinning and hazards aren't that relevant anymore in this metagame, so what do you need Forretress for? Of course, it's nice to have a spinner and a stealth rocker in the same package, but, there's defog, so spiking is not really a thing that Forretress can do as easily anymore. And, Forretress is a sturdy wall, so with no reliable recovery, so I don't think it will be too broken for the underused metagame by any means. So, with that being said, at least with these first initial changes, I don't really see any problems, but still it is kind of scary that, it's really a small handful of people now that do determine the tiers. And this guy is saying something here, I guess, blah blah blah. Sounds really elitist, and I'm sure that's what a lot of people are going to feel about this, oh no, now it's the Smogon elitist players who are deciding the metagame and it's horrible. But so far, I don't have a problem with any of these changes. Do you? Leave a comment below and still take into account that underused Pokemon can be used in the overused tier. It's just the other way around, how it doesn't work. You can still use all these Pokemon in the overused tier, but now you also, besides that, have the option to use them in the UU tier. And I think most of you can agree that a lot of these Pokemon are just mediocre, and Salamon's already got put to BL, which makes sense. And I guess Cloyster will be really interesting to try out in the underused metagame, definitely, but I'm not really sure, there's Sableye there to put the Will-O-Wisp, switch in on Shell Smash, go for the Willow. There's Forretress, which is really bulky, can go for the Gyro Ball, especially with the speed boost and possible defense drops. I don't know how many other ways there would be to deal with Cloyster. I'm sure there are, but I haven't really been playing much UU. Leave a comment below. What ways do you think Cloyster would be broken? At least I think all of you can agree that all these Pokemon, except for Salamence and Cloyster, are just fine in the UU metagame. Cloyster is somewhat controversial. Salamence already got moved up to BL, so it's not even an issue. Cloyster, somewhat controversial. But if it's a problem, it will get banned. So, on that note, at least so far, I don't have any issues with these changes. So, let me know what you think. Perhaps in the future, some problems will arise with the fact that so little people affect the tiers. That could be an issue, you know. When there's a small handful full of people, if they catch up on some random trend and then they move up some random Pokemon to OU from the NU, for example, I don't know what could happen. You know, if something, some random Pokemon could, you know, pull the Gastrodon a little bit easier now. I don't know. But at least at this time, I don't see any problems with this, so I don't think it's really an issue. And now we should have less fluctuation. We all know how crazy the metagame is. So now, if there's a way, and now that there is a way to have less fluctuation, I think that is only a good thing. But anyways, I'm rambling. So again, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this? I will leave some links in the description. For the 1760 stats, it's just in the all the way down here in the February stats. They are just scroll down. I will leave a link for this and for the usage stats tiering 1760 changes thingies. So yeah, leave your thoughts and I will check you guys next time. TheSpade signing out. Peace.